Chapter 35th, The Diary. By age 9, the system had already assembled itself. School came easily, and it became my currency. A's lowered the tension at home. Not much, not for long, sometimes just for one evening. But at least that. A C meant catastrophe. Not because a C itself means anything, but because behind it stood everything else. Screaming, humiliation, beatings, the chair leg, torn notebooks. I learned to hide the C's. I carefully tore out the page from my school diary, a record book used in Russian schools where grades are logged daily. Went to my friend's grandmother, asked for clean pages from another diary, then at home stitched them in with a needle and thread because we didn't have a stapler. The lines had to match. The paper had to lie flat. The page numbers had to match. The handwriting had to not give me away. I was 9 and I was forging a school diary with the precision of a little counterfeiter. If any of the adults had bothered to notice this talent, they would have understood. The child has either a bright future in crime or a very large fear. Fear 1. Became a product manager. I forged not only for myself. In 7th grade, my friend Kamala was in the hospital with sinusitis, and I was putting on a school performance and couldn't do without her. She was the best. They wouldn't release her. The doctor said no. The homeroom teacher said, well, what can you do? I wrote a request in the name of the homeroom teacher, forged her signature, because by that time I was already good at copying handwriting, trained on the diary. Then I forged the signatures of 2 more teachers. Everyone agrees the child can be released for the event. Brought it to the hospital, handed it in. Camilla was released. The performance happened. No one ever found out. Fox could bypass any system if inside that system they told me no. Ask directly. Won't help. Explain why it's important. They won't hear. So make the system itself produce the needed answer. A signature is just ink on paper. The important thing is that it matches. But one time I didn't have to forge anything. In 7th grade, they announced a contest for a young journalist at the local newspaper. They were recruiting from grades 5 through 11 of our lyceum. I asked my grandfather, was it worth going? He said, of course, go. That was, I think, the only time in my entire childhood when an adult near me said, not no, not don't butt in, not who asked you, but simply go. I showed up and was the smallest, 156 centimeters tall. The rest were from 10th and 11th grade, a head or 2 taller than me, some already with mustaches. We were given an assignment, write an article on any topic in a week. I didn't know what to write about, but I knew what I could do. Go to strangers and ask questions. My grandmother had taught me not to fear adults, or rather, taught me to fear only her. And against the backdrop of grandmother's wrath, any director seemed quite harmless. I went uninvited to the director of the local power plant, just walked into the reception, said I was from the newspaper, that I was writing an article. The secretary looked at me from above, was stunned by my audacity and nerve, and let me through. The director turned out to be a decent guy. He answered my questions about power outages and rates, didn't laugh, spoke seriously as if to an adult. Then I went to Altai Energo. Same thing. Walked in, introduced myself, asked, wrote it down. A week later, I submitted the article. Out of the whole group, only I was chosen. They printed it in the newspaper. The article was called The Brave Little Tailor, where the editor introduced me, told everyone about my bold initiative to investigate a timely topic, and published my interview. They published me a few more times after that. I received my first real paycheck, not through the tripa, not through fear, through what I could do. Show up, ask, take notes, write. My grandfather, when he found out, said nothing, as usual, and they didn't take the money. By their standards, this was almost praise.